So this is a video on decision fatigue. I think it's something that people may not have heard of, but I think has an impact certainly on my life and on people who are engaging in personal development. Maybe you're not aware of it, and it could help them improve their performance and their personal development. So first of all, to explain it, it is what it sounds like. It means making unnecessary decisions or too many decisions throughout the day, and the consequence of that is that it inhibits your concentration, it inhibits your performance and your motivation throughout the day. So if you think of, let's say, an extreme example, let's say you had no routine on a daily basis, you had no automation of the activities you do in the day, and you got up in the morning and you had to decide what you were going to have for breakfast, what you were going to wear, when you were going to do activities, what were you going to do for the day. Then you had to decide, well, am I going to do multiple things for the day, or am I going to focus on just one? When am I going to eat? How much time am I going to allocate to doing different activities? If I'm going to do them, what are my goals going to be, and so on. Although that's a bit extreme, that activity in itself will take up time throughout your day. Not only will it take up time, it will take up concentration. And in fact, we only have a limited amount of attention and concentration in a given day, a given week, or a different given time span. And so what's worth bearing in mind is that in the start of the day, for instance, your concentration is at its peak. So you are in the morning, your concentration will be at best, or when you begin an activity, and it will slowly decline. But that's a natural process. But the more decisions you are making, that will decline faster. And really what you want to do is you want to be dedicating decision making to the things that are most important. And if you look at people who are productive and organizations who are productive and things that work effectively, take a workplace, a company, things aren't just left to decisions throughout the day if possible. We start at a particular time, there is a chain of command as to who makes what decisions when, who do you go to, what are the procedures, and that streamlines the decisions you are making. You are not thinking about those things, you're not wasting time, wasting energy thinking about those things. And it's the same in your day-to-day life. Many people have a routine to some extent that revolves around their work. Maybe they have a hobby that they do, and that is fit into a routine. But outside of that, we might have goals outside of that. It could be going to the gym, it could be a hobby, a side project, something like that. And if you do that, often we kind of just leave it to try and fit it in throughout the day, instead of actually streamlining your decision making in what you're going to do, and actually simplifying throughout the day. You want to be making as few decisions as is humanly possible in your day and in your week. So following on to this, what can you do about this issue of decision fatigue? Well, as you may have guessed, as I've mentioned before, routine is important. If you have a routine already, then that's good, but you can build on that in the rest of your evening, or the time that you have left. That streamlines. You simply don't think about it, and dig deeper into your routine. How can I actually make it better? Can I, for instance, prepare more the night before, so when I get up in the morning, I follow a few things and I'm done, and that just streamlines my day, and my concentration is better for when I get onto my tasks. I'm not expending any concentration or energy on getting ready in the morning, for instance. Another thing, of course, is your environment. The reason why being tidy and neat is emphasized and is associated with being successful and so on is because if you have a messy environment, then that just complicates things. You don't know where things are, it wastes time, it wastes energy, and it brings decision fatigue into your life then as a result. The other thing then is, where possible, to simply simplify anything you're doing. If you can remove something, right, completely out of your life in whatever form it takes. For instance, if it's possible for you, instead of doing chores, to pay for a cleaner or something. If it's possible for you, instead of cooking every night, to meal prep or meal plan. If it is possible, let's say, to purchase cooked food instead of cooking it yourself, that removes that completely out of your week. If you meal prepped on the Monday, you're not thinking about that even for the rest of the week, and then that frees up your headspace. Also, when you are doing things, it's better, our minds find it easier to focus on one task at a time, and as you move between tasks, your mind has to refocus, and that requires a certain amount of energy. So if it is at all possible, the most valuable time you can have is doing an activity in blocks, 2 hours, 3 hours, where you can get immersed in it and there's momentum going with what you're doing and your attention is focused on that task. And the last thing I'd mention is having an idea of prioritization. What are the important things in your life? If you're doing multiple things at a time, you have your social life, your hobbies, your work, and so on, which goes ahead of one? Because if it comes around, and it probably will come around, that you don't have time for one thing, and you're going to have to choose between one or the other, you can quickly make that decision. You kind of have a chain of command or a value system to make your decisions on that basis. So these things I tend to find helpful. I think it's almost like a weight lifted when you streamline or simplify things. I found playing around with Google Calendar, it was just made things run smoother. When I actually got into, I eventually started to make it work. It takes a while to get used to it, of course, but once you know what you're doing, it actually frees you up. And instead of being constricting, as some people tend to think that routine is, or timetabling is, it actually frees your mind. You know when your free time is, and when you can actually have free time and know that it's your free time. You have your other priorities in place, and that's a great weight lifted. So that's my little explainer on decision fatigue, and hopefully that helps.